Hi guys, are you in Node.js session? You will be learn here how can you write code in Node.js, how can you enjoy with Node.js code. Let's first start with Node.js. Uh, first things we see in Node.js organization screens here. Uh, in past, lots of the versions lots of version arrived, and now is current version is a 11.0 is the latest versions. Is Node.js. You can download from here Node.js organizations, and you can uh, write write and test your codes. Now just start with Node.js basics. Here you can see the steps and syllabus what you learn in coming sections. There are these basics here like home screen, introductions, and your write your how can you write for first application, different type of modules, HTTP modules, and here you see lots of the steps here. Next, and then you also will learn how can you write code with MySQL, how can you integrate your MySQL with MySQL, and how can you also integrate like NoSQL database like MongoDB, and you also learn socket programming. It's very important feature in Node.js programming. It's very helpful to live streaming applications, and also like taxi applications. You can streaming your cars videos, also lots of the applications it will be help you. Okay, now start with basics. Just I introduce to Node.js. What is Node.js? Okay, see here. Okay, what is Node.js? Okay, Node.js is an open source environment. Uh, it's allowed to run JavaScript on servers. It's like JavaScript. You also familiar with JavaScript, and you may. I hope you very well know about JavaScript frameworks like Angular, React.js. The basic of the JavaScript. Like that is here. Okay, it's very easy for you to write a code in Node.js. Node.js is a very powerful JavaScript-based framework. It's built on Google Chrome JavaScript engines. It's a very helpful to develop input-output in web applications like video streaming. I just mentioned before, like video streaming applications, single-page applications, and other web applications you can use there. Here's some like examples. How can you how Node.js code how look like that? Okay, like that you just seen here sample examples. They are simple, very simple syntax is there. There are mentions like HTTP modules, like mentions required, and it's like a JavaScript functions like a HTTP.create server. Okay, and this one is like basic examples. I will be explain you later how can you write codes. Like is like a here since is a basic looking like this syntax is yours. Okay, and you just like that write code like JavaScript, and you run the examples, and you fill. You seen here I mentioned here you write like one file like in .js extensions files. You can write any codes here. Okay, and you just in consoles you run these files, and you see in the output in this one's like here is what hello words is print here. Okay, like this one looking like this ones. Now okay, now is the introductions. What the afterwards you just go into introductions. Node.js is like a open source environment. Okay, it will be run on Windows, Linux, Unix, Mac OS. Node.js uses JavaScript basics. Okay, and is run on servers. The Node.js purely asynchronous programming. and is a non-blocking programming. Okay, and here also Node.js handle file requests, like you request means any systems request to the servers, and the server serve these files and they return back to the client. It's like it's basic cycles like the web applications. Node.js eliminates writings and simply continues with the next request, means like non-blocking request is run on a single-threaded non-blocking asynchronous programming, which is very memory efficient. If you write to programs where you face with thousands of the customers and you want very fast processings, there you will be use Node.js programming because it's a non-blocking process. It's very helpful to any like a fast process, like a taxi application or thousands of customers, taxi drivers and also client. They're waiting for the taxis and they're also they're waiting for the request. On the times you also use this Node.js programming. It will be helpful for this these applications. Okay. Now we going to like first applications. If we are not familiar with Node.js applications, then you start like first application. How can I write a applications in Node.js? So you've seen also here. First, you need to download the Node.js from officially Node.js organization sites. Now is again 11.10 versions I mentioned here. 11.0 you download from here. Lots of the operating systems here they supported, like Windows, Mac OS, Linux, like that. After installing your Node.js applications, you will be test your applications like that writing applications. Okay, now we are going to focus on like how to creating your Node.js applications. Okay, just now you see here import required modules. Modules is very important features in Node.js applications. There are lots of the directive and directives there, and lots of the modules there. There are about thousands of the developer communities. They uploading the different type of the module like the libraries. They helpful to write codes in shorthand. No need to write code for every functionalities. So we in future we looking lots of the modules, but we cover only just few modules. They will be helpful to your in your almost all the applications. One of the modules is mentioned here. HTTP is we are using HTTP modules like mentioned like that, where HTTP is equal to require HTTP is like a it's like JavaScript, like declaring the variables. Same like that, you import modules like required functions, and it mentions like modules like HTTP. It's stores in HTTP variables. Afterward, you need to write a codes for create a servers. Here one example, basic examples. How can you handle request of the client? Okay, and you also mentions particular reports on which port you will be handle the request of the servers, web servers. Is you also use like Apache's, Nginx, lots like that is like web servers. It handle the client request and serve to a client request. So here mentioned like you seen here in codes like HTTP's variables, and then we use create servers functions. This create server functions request and response of the client. You also write lots of functionalities in HTTP modules. You write headers to response, like a content types is go to text plains, maybe JSONs, text.json. We mention any content types in a response of the request, and you also putting a status of the HTTP we will be looking in more in next coming sessions. How can you write with more functionalities the HTTP. Now is like you seen here how to write headers, okay, and how to write like a response. You are also we here respond to bodies like hello world text is print to the on the client browsers, and we serve the all these requests on the H081 port. Is like load listens to load listen functions. Now next you scenes console.logs. It's simple like the JavaScript. If you print like on consoles, same like that. You also write console.logs, means it's confirmed to you. Okay, they are servers running in on port. Now you test your request and response of the request of the client. So we are putting all the codes on the file like where mention HTTP variables, and there you import HTTP libraries modules like module. Okay, then using HTTP variables you create servers on 8081 port, and you write code to response to all the requests like hello world hello world's text. Okay, it's like a basic examples. Initially you write text is here. Then if you want to run this one codes, you need to write like node and then your file name .js. Okay, if you this file you have say maybe you say like main.js. Okay, and now you want to execute this file, means you need to write code in console node space main.js, and you just seen here. Yeah, in consoles like looking like this, like server running at HTTP on local port 8081 port, and when you request on the server, your browser say hello world. Now we are check this one first applications in live mode. Okay, here you seen here one of files like index.js. We put the all the this paste is a paste this codes. We also declare variables, create servers, write code here. Now I just restart. See, you see here in console, it will be print a server running at HTTP on local port, local on 8081 port, and you see here browsers. See, is a hello words because we put all the requests and response only once like hello world to the all request, means your first applications is looking like that. You learn how can you write here basic first applications. Now you learn how what is modules. Okay, and what need how can you include the modules. Okay, what is modules? Module is a JavaScript library, is a set of functionality what you want to include here in your applications. Built-in modules. Node.js have some built-in modules. Is default by default when you install Node.js. By default it's installed default like modules. If you see in this one, then this one default modules of the Node.js is no need to install the modules like asset, buffer, child process, clusters, scriptors. I mentioned all these libraries. No need to install when you running the programs. Okay, if you want to include another modules, then you need to install usually npm. I will be learn later. First is I just mentioned here, this is default inbuilt libraries and modules. Okay, now is including modules. How can you include your modules? Required functions with the name of the modules, means the required functions where you mentions all the modules whatever you need to in your programs, like uh, like we need to require http modules, then you mention only http and just also declare this store in like http variables. These http variables have lots of functions. You're going to access this one modules using like doc extensions methods. There we like handle request and response of the client, and same thing say we just mentioning before the one first applications their right header and also end with hello words, like that functions here. You also create your own modules like using export and data export. This export keyword to make your property and method available outside of the module files. It will helpful when you export your module to any other libraries, any other projects. Okay, now we are looking inside depth like http modules. This is built-in live http modules. These HTTP modules allow to transfer data over the hypertext type transfer protocol HTTP. This work Node.js as working as a web server using like create servers. We mentions like create server functions, and you using you running these applications like Node and filename.js. You also had add header in HTTP like a response dot write heads. Also mention status, means is a status 200 or 400 whatever things there. I also mention content time text or like that ones, and you also write response dot write, and you also and the response, and this we serve to client. Okay, and how can you handle the strings or the query strings? If you write any program where you need to like handle the query strings, you also this one also available in functions like request.urls. Okay, these ones if you putting request.urls, okay, it will be print request.urls, and you see the output here below that like summer. One of the first is domain names and then backslash of the like summers, like anything, okay, like that ones. You see here request.urls. You will have like will also be one of the modules. If you want to depth any URL functionalities, you also need to import URL, but we learn in later, okay, how can you import modules of the URL, how can you use the URL functionalities, lots of the function modules, lots of the functions available in the URL libraries. Now we are also just focus on the like HTTP modules. If you are putting request.urls, it will print like URLs, whatever you will pass it. And if you want to check this output, I'll be seen here. I just copy and paste the code in like index.js. It will start. I just here. Now nothing is there here. That's why is a blank space. Okay, I will just put like summer. It's like is a URL, and this one is a domain names, and this one a URL. If you are like a winter, this winter, this is URLs. Okay, like that one's HTTP modules work. You can see response.write request.urls, and this one's like text.htmls. Now, okay, now you now you see like that. If you backslash summers is run like and output like summers. If you write 8080 means putting winters and this print winters and output, and also like we also handle the query strings like parameters like using a URL. Okay, you need to import URL libraries. Libraries is more like a modules. Okay, it's stored in URL variables, and you also pass the request.url. url.parse request.url is true. Then putting is query. Means query means like question marks afterward question mark you or whatever parameter pass it is converted to in query, and just to you use like that ones like a q.yours and q.months. Okay, we all the we just parse URL, and you afterward just parse this query and store in q variables. After you mentions q.years and also mentions qr months, it will be print in text modules. Here is stored in text variable text, where you find out the whatever values in the passing years and whatever past values in month, and concatenations of this one parameters, and you print years. You also we going to run these programs, and you just since how can it work. Just go okay. You just copy and paste here. Here we import two modules, HTTP and URL. Here we create servers. Here right header is like a HTTP and HTML text.htmls. Here using a URL variable to parse these request URLs, and we just fetch the query, and we also from query to fetch the parameter values like years and month, and print years. Just start these ones, and we are run these ones. Okay, we just pass year is equal to 50 and month is equal to 12. See, you seen here it's find out the year values and month values from the query strings using the URL modules. It's very helpful to fetch the parameters from the request. Okay, these one examples here. Next sessions we will be learns how can you use REPL terminals, npm packages, and callback concept, and step by step you've seen here lots of the sessions here. Okay, I hope you enjoy with current sessions. You also learn more in next sessions. It will be very helpful to learn more in advance, and you to write codes in very fantastic strategies. Okay, I hope you enjoy with me, and okay, thank you to all who enjoy and who's watching this video. Thank you.